Welcome back to Grassroots Media. Welcome back to this week's edition of the Malone Record Service Betsy Show, presented by Critters Corner, where we cover everything on the court with the West Greene Lady Buffaloes basketball team. As always, I'm joined here with head coach Betsy Shaw. Coach, good to see you again. How's it been?
Good.
It's been 2 weeks since we sat down. Of course, we took off for Thanksgiving week, so I got to ask first and foremost, how was your Thanksgiving?
It was good.
I
ate a lot.
How many meals did you eat?
Just two.
I know some people have multiple families that they go to, but I think out of the coaches I've asked, two is the most that I've heard this week. So I've not heard an overwhelming amount of like 4 Thanksgiving meals. That I think comes towards Christmas time when people have 4 Christmases to go to.
Yeah.
We'll ask that question when we get there, but we've got some wins to talk about. Crazy enough, in those 2 weeks that we took off, we've got 5 games to talk about. The University High game, which was I think right after we had done our first interview. The Thanksgiving Classic at Gibbs, where you had games against Cosby, Gibbs, Morristown East, and then Cherokee this past Monday. Picked up 3 wins, University, Cosby, and Cherokee, and then took 2 losses up there at Gibbs to, of course, Gibbs, the hosting team, and then Morristown East. So take me through those 5 games in the last 2 weeks since we sat down and talked, and tell me how much growth you've seen from your team since then.
A lot. I mean, we've improved a lot, but man, we're not where we're going to have to be. To be where we're hoping, like goal-wise. We're not there yet, but, I mean, there's a ton of growth going on individually and as a team. The University High game, we pressed them quite a bit, and our press was pretty effective against them. We beat Cosby. We had a great team game that game. I know Zai had a triple-double.
Yes, that was the triple-double game.
Or Joey, but it was a really good team game. I mean, they took care of the basketball. We rebounded well. It was a good team win. And then we played Gibbs. We didn't do very well. It was within a point or two. Our shooting percentage as a whole was rough. And at the end we ended up losing by 10, but it was close the whole game until right there at the end. And then Morristown East, they're really good.
Yeah. I think the score indicates that. The teams that they've beaten outside of you all kind of indicate that too. That's probably one of the tougher teams that you will probably see in your schedule all season long.
I mean, and it was for third place because we won the first game and was on the winner's side. But, man, he just kept subbing, and I was like, whew. And then the last night was Cherokee. So, Peyton hit the game winner at Cherokee. So, it was – and Emily had 19 points. And, a bunch of people's asked me about Emily because she scored, 19 points, which is a ton for her. She knocked down a bunch of three-pointers and took care of the ball well for us. And then Peyton – man, it's impressive for a freshman to knock down a shot like that and to take the shot like that.
Yeah.
And so
this early into her time as a varsity player too, this is her 6th game, and she's already taking shots that win a game. I mean, that's big.
I mean, you think of her back at playing University High versus hitting the game winner. Like she's grown a ton, and so she's going to just continue to get better for us. But we had a bunch of other players that contributed too. Morgan took 2 charges, and I know that probably doesn't show up anywhere, but that's really, really big deal for us, to do that. And it was on their number 12, the really good girl they have. So a lot of things differently that I think we could have done, throughout the game. But right there at the end, we held them, played some defense, and then pressed them, and it worked well. And everybody that come in off the bench contributed something. Joey had a good game defensively for us too. I think she scored like 7, could be. But she just takes care of the ball for us when we get it to her in the middle of the press. And so, I mean, it was great Peyton hit that, but it was a good team win for all of them. So
one thing I look through when I look at each score from the games, you have, of course, we'll throw out the Morristown East game. When you take the University High, the Cosby game, the Gibbs game, and the Cherokee game, you're allowing 40 or less points in each of those games. So looking at those scores, it seems like something that we can talk about that we haven't talked about in the past a lot is your defense seems really improved. Of course, you allow 27 against UH, 40 against Cosby in a win. You allowed 46 against Gibbs. That one ended up being a loss. You had 36
See,
in that
that's
one.
what happens when you don't play no defense.
And then you had you allowed 40 against Cherokee. So those 3 wins that we could talk about, you've allowed them to 40 or less points. And even in the Gibbs loss, you only allowed 46. So for those games, you've allowed 46 or less points. Let's talk about how much of the defense has improved. How happier are you standing right now on December 4th this year than you were December 4th last year? How much more happy are you with your defense right now?
A lot of it is defense, but a lot more of it is offensively taking care of the basketball.
Okay.
When we turn it over, most teams score a layup. And so we really cut down on turnovers compared to last year. Against Cosby, we had 15, which is 15 or less is typically our goal for us. But, like, our turnovers have really, really improved. And, whether we're playing man or zone, we're talking a lot better than we are. And, having Joey in the middle helps tremendously, just to protect the paint. And those girls are all of them come in. Even Neva, I know she's typically been the first one off the bench, but she started for us one of the games of the tournament. She plays great defense. And Sarah Justice, her name doesn't come up much for points, but she boxes out consistently and plays really good defense for us too. So it's, a lot of girls are doing a really good job in whatever role that's being asked of them, and so defense has improved, yes, but it's more so taking care of the basketball and not giving the other team layups all night. At least when we're back on defense, it helps us a little bit.
Let's talk about two more games in specific and in detail a little bit more too, and that's Cosby and Cherokee, because we talked about Cherokee and how big it was for a freshman to take a game-winning shot in only her sixth game as a varsity player, and then the Cosby game, which ended up being a 4-point win. You're getting a lot of close wins, which I think if we looked back at it last year in this early part of the season in November and December, a lot of those close 1 to 2 possession games or single-point margins, I think, were on the flip side of things.
Yeah.
You were on the opposite side of that, on the losing end. And this year, you're finding ways to win those games and those single-digit games. Talk about how you're able to win some of those games now versus last year where you were on the losing end of things. How have you been able to reverse that this year?
It's the girls. They have a lot of experience. Emily and Joey and Morgan started last year every game for us. And they, at the end of the game, like the leadership that those three have, whether it be, communicating, like Morgan talks constantly out there. And then Joey and Emily, with their play, they lead with how they play oftentimes. And so just to have that calming presence out there with Morgan's voice, I don't know if you've ever heard it, but like she makes sure we're calm and doing where we're supposed to be, just to have that leadership out there. It's nothing I'm doing, it's the girls. And so it's great to have the experience. And I know there's a lot of things that could have went either way with all these games. And so we've spent a lot of time talking about some things that we can improve throughout the game to try not to have it be as often that end of shot or end of play, right there at the end. So we're trying to improve on it as best we can as a group. So
sitting at 4-2 right now, going into, I guess I talked about it with Alan. This is kind of your the start of your regular season, I guess you could say, because you go through the Hall of Champions games and the Thanksgiving Classic games, and you finally get into the home and home, a part of your regular season schedule. You got Cherokee out of the way. You go to Hancock County tomorrow night, and then you start conference play with Happy Valley on Tuesday. It's crazy that we're already starting conference games now. Yeah. But before we talk about those too much, of course, we need to get a break in from our sponsors first. So we'll see you right back in just a minute here on Grassroots Media to talk about those.
Pizza Inn offers contactless buffet to go with JoJo's Family Feast or anything on our menu for carryout. We also honor birthday parties and cater to businesses and large events. We make it easy. Call us today. Pizza Inn Greenville.
For more than 30 years, Tommy's Plumbing has served customers in East Tennessee with licensed and professional plumbing services. From installing your new faucet to replacing your existing piping system, our team at Tommy's Plumbing is trained to handle the job with professionalism, attention to detail, and integrity. By offering warranties on most products installed by our technicians, Tommy's Plumbing stands behind our work, ensuring that your plumbing needs are not only met, but that your problem is solved for the long term. When you need reliable and professional plumbing service, Tommy's is the only call to make. So give us a call today and let us show you the Tommy's difference.
Welcome back to Grassroots Media. Welcome back to this week's edition of the Malone's Record Service Betsy Shaw Show, presented by Critters Corner, where we cover everything on the court with the West Greene Lady Buffaloes basketball team. As always, I'm joined here with head coach Betsy Shaw. So you've got an important part of your schedule coming up. We talked about right before the break that Cherokee was really the start of your home and home regular season series. You get Hancock County this Thursday, which is an interesting trip. I know that you all didn't travel to Sneedville last year. I don't know the last time that West Greene has traveled to Hancock County, but quite a difficult trek to get there. It's kind of comparable to Johnson County. It's one of those bus rides that I think a lot of coaches dread. So take me through Hancock County and what you know about them and what you can expect going into tomorrow night.
We're going to press. We've worked on it quite a bit, and so we're expecting to impress them. I watched film on them yesterday, and then another game again today. So hopefully we're prepared to play them. And the trip over there hopefully will help prepare us for next Friday against Johnson County. Long bus ride, get off the bus, be ready to play. So
that is right.
Hopefully the same kind of experience will help us when we play Johnson County, which is a lot more important game since it's conference. So that's about what I expect. And then, do you ask about Happy Valley yet?
Not yet, but that is beneficial that you play Hancock County right before Johnson County, because I do think both drives are comparable because they're both long drives.
Yeah.
They're both winding roads, which can really affect somebody. So to get Hancock County's drive and that game on the road out of the way before Johnson County, how beneficial do you think that'll be, considering how Johnson County is a much more important game with it being a district game?
Well, most of the players have went to Johnson County, so they understand. And when we went up there last year, we played awful. I think we had
coaches always tell me there's something about that drive and that gym that just throws you off of your game plan and anything. It just seems like it completely just goes out the window. Is that true when you go to Johnson County?
There's no excuse.
Yeah.
We had 30 turnovers or something. We went. There's no excuse. I don't care how long we're on the bus or the drive or no. Hopefully it does, especially those freshmen, get to experience the long bus ride and maybe prepare them better at least for next week.
And then you've got Happy Valley. You get them here at home. It's always good to start your conference slate at home. You get Happy Valley on Tuesday. It's crazy that conference games are already here, and you tip off the first one on Tuesday night with the Lady Warriors. Take me through that game and what you can expect when you open up conference play on Tuesday.
I have not got any film from them yet. I will, but I haven't yet. I know they played University High. I think that's the only common opponent we've had, and they beat them by 2 points. But that's the extent. And I know who they've graduated. Most of the points that they had last year came from girls that's left. So that's all I know for now. I will know more, and so will the girls. But it's conference play, and you never know. So you got to be prepared to play. So hopefully we will be. Especially, and it's been a long time since we've got to play here at West Greene. We've been on the road.
It really has. Yeah.
Yes, Claiborne was our last home game.
That was the first game of the season, wasn't it? Yeah, so you all will have almost three exact weeks from home and home games. So you get back at home. I know that'll be exciting. Of course, it's important. We always talk about if you want to win the conference or if you want to have a higher seed going into the tournament, you have to win those road games. But those home games are just as important, if not more important, because you have to defend your home territory. And the MO for those other teams is you have to win those road games. So I'm not going to ask you which one you think is more important, home and road games, but with it being a home game, how important is it to carry out business against Happy Valley with your first conference game?
It's good to start the way you want to finish. You want to start out winning, and you said that which one's more important. They are all so important.
They are.
You never
it's
know
really
about
hard.
Conference.
Yeah.
Last year we played Happy Valley, and so 3 times. So you never know, and you've got to be prepared to play every night, just like any other game. So we'll see.
It's better than playing Chucky Duck 5 times in a season.
Yeah, I hope we never do that again.
That's crazy. I still think about that, and I think I joked about that with Coach Donahue this week. It's crazy how you can play a team 5 times within a season. We won't see that this year because none of the teams that you matched up in your Thanksgiving Classic with Gibbs, you'll see later on down the road in a district tournament or the Christmas tournament setting. But you may be able to see another team like Happy Valley, Chucky Duck, one of those in the district or region tournaments also. But enough of that. You got Hancock County on Thursday, Happy Valley on Tuesday. That's all we got this week. Hopefully next time we sit down, we get to talk about 2 more wins. You're 4-2. Let's make it 6-2 next time we sit down and do another interview. But, Coach, that's all I've got for you this week. Thank you once again. Thank you all for watching this week's edition of the Malone Trekker Service Betsy Shaw Show, presented by Critters Corner. We look forward to seeing you next time here on Grassroots Media.